41 more clubs are about to join Major League Baseball. How much further can this pyramid grow? Welcome back to Baseball Dreamland, where we're entering the 1906 season in our National Agreement Challenge with the New London Whalers and Out of the Park Baseball 26. It's the Cubs universe, and we're just renting space. They're back-to-back Cup champions and undisputed kings of the National League. Meanwhile, the Whalers clung to Class C status like barnacles on a boat, thanks to Harry Welsh and Lefty O'Banion. Not only did we stay up, we pulled off a cup run, knocking out the Milwaukee Creams and the ever-parasitic Paris Parasites. Now the main pyramid expands again. 34 new clubs join the fray for a grand total of 174. Class C now features 4 leagues of 6, and with that, promotion and relegation rules revert to 1 up, 1 down per league. Class D still promotes 2 teams per league, and just like that, the Class C expansion intensifies. Here are all the teams who will continue chasing the Chicago Cubs for the title of best club in the entire pyramid. 21 clubs earned promotion to higher tiers, including 10 from Class D leagues up to Class C. The Detroit Tigers and Boston Beaneaters returned to the American League after stints in the Class A doghouse. 13 clubs were relegated to lower tiers. The New York Highlanders and Brooklyn Superbas were both relegated to the Class A International League, where they'll have to fight each other to get back up to the American League. 9 teams changed their names, including Providence reclaiming their Grays identity. Des Moines is now known as the Champs. That's 4 names in 4 seasons for them. Experiencing an identity crisis much? 11 teams swapped leagues during this year's realignment exercise. Peoria joins the Southern Association, Philadelphia drifts into the South Atlantic League, and a pair of Indiana clubs have been dropped into the New York State League. The league office calls it geography, we call it abstract art. Here is Class D, which with 10 leagues and 70 clubs now requires its own page. The Hartford Senators and Shreveport Pirates are here after being relegated from Class C last season. There are 35 new clubs, which makes up half of Class D. The Kentucky, Illinois, Tennessee League, Virginia State League, and Pennsylvania, Ohio Leagues are born. I'm starting to wonder if this is getting a little out of hand.
Everything's under control, situation normal.
Thankfully, there's only 4 team name changes at this level. But 30 clubs shuffled leagues without a single promotion or relegation, just pure geographic chaos. The Western Association said, "We're Class C now," and kicked their 6 clubs to the curb. The West Coast Pyramid welcomes the Butte Miners, Grays Harbor Lumbermen, and Fresno Raisin Eaters to the Class B Northwestern League. The Bellingham Gillnetters and Tacoma Tigers trade places as part of the first season of promotion and relegation in this pyramid. That league will promote 2 clubs to the Pacific Coast League, with just 1 coming back down. The Cuban League now has a second tier of 4 clubs made up of the barnstorming all-Cubans from Class D, the Cuban Stars of Havana, Rojo, and the Havana Cuban Stars West. One of these clubs will get promoted to the top flight, while 3 come back down this season. The Connecticut League features some familiar clubs like the Bridgeport Orators, Manchester Textiles, and Springfield Ponies. The Amsterdam Gloversville Johnstown Jags just got promoted from Class D into our league. Yes, they're called the Amsterdam Gloversville Johnston Jags.
What kind of stupid name is that?
They'll be our longest road trip now that Duluth and Fargo are in different leagues. The Fall River Indians also joined the Connecticut League after their relegation from Class B in 1905. Our owner remains happy, which makes one of us. He bumped our budget down to $17,200, second lowest in the league. Meanwhile, Fall River's spending $30,000 like they discovered oil in Massachusetts. We've got a new stolen bases goal, which I promptly renegotiated into a staff cohesion goal. The 4th annual Postseason Cup features 202 clubs, 148 of which will participate in the first round, with the remaining 54 entering in the second round. And the community has spoken. The Postseason Cup is a boring name. Henceforth, it will be called the Roosevelt Cup. Teddy didn't love baseball, but the sport loved him enough to name its crown jewel tournament in his honor. In our universe, it's flattery and a side of shameless branding. I'm also changing the parameters of this challenge slightly to preserve some longevity. There are now 2 challenges, winning the National League and winning the Roosevelt Cup. This series will continue until both challenges are resolved. For those of you worried about a quick ending,
everybody chill! It's cool now.
976 first-year free agents joined the universe in 1906. The lottery phase will distribute 2 players to each of the 202 clubs. Our lottery odds have dropped slightly from 0.32 last season to 0.28 this season. The expansion phase will dish out the remaining 572 players to new clubs and 1 club that's short on players. And here are the results of the lottery. The Class B Montgomery Senators had just a 0.77 chance to land that number 1 selection, but it came through. The lottery gave various Senators the first 3 picks and Regional League clubs the first 9 picks. The American League's Boston Beaneaters picked 10th, and the National League's first pick will be the Chicago Cubs at number 14. Fall River was awarded the number 42 pick, and we've been given a pick inside the top 100 for the first time. With the first pick of the 1905 MLB draft, the Montgomery Senators nabbed teenage outfielder Tris Speaker, who becomes the face of a team that hasn't even finished unpacking from Class C yet. John Henry Lloyd, Rube Marquard, and Jack Combs are picked 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively. Heine Zimmerman heads to the Shreveport Pirates on the heels of being relegated 3 seasons in a row. The Cuban X-Giants have risen from Class D to Class A, and now they've got Eddie Collins to help them reach the American League. Larry Doyle heads to Ilion to round out the top 7. The Connecticut League was all about starting pitching again. Fall River selected Orvie Long and ballplayer Loom with their picks. The Jags selected Lee Samuels with the 93rd pick. The Bridgeport Orators picked William Chenault at number 122. The New London Whalers select 20-year-old starting pitcher Lefty Webb with the 88th pick to pair with Lefty O'Banion atop our rotation. Now we just need a righty and a guy named Splitter. Hank Sox Perry is our second selection, taken 251st overall. He's already lacing up for a spring training showdown with Pop Rising for the center field job. Get your popcorn. We need to find replacements at assistant general manager, bench coach, and hitting coach for 1906. 37-year-old Larry Dunlap is our new assistant GM. He's from nearby Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and he might as well just stay there. We finally got a bench coach that can help develop players, though Ernesto Cruz's relationships with our players isn't spectacular. Francis Abercrombie played 1 game in 1871 and went 0 for 3, so naturally, he's now our hitting coach. If nothing else, he knows what not to do. Our personnel group remained strong at development, but took a step back in staff cohesion, meaning I probably won't meet that goal this season. We're sending Chappie Johnson to his home state of Ohio to play for the Marion Moguls. He's been serving as our starting first baseman for the past 2 seasons and collected a win above replacement. Best of luck, Chappie. Marion sends us 28-year-old first baseman ballplayer Patterson. He posted an abysmal 2 wins below replacement for them in Class D last season while playing out of position. He posted a 125 WRC+, and should be an offensive upgrade over Chappie Johnson. As per tradition, let's rename him Walter. Welcome to the club, Walt. Try not to ruin it. We also traded light-hitting catcher Charlie Armbruster to the Fort Worth Panthers. He's been a clubhouse leader since 1902 and collected 2.4 wins above replacement over his 4 seasons with us. Best of luck in Fort Worth. His exit leaves us down a leader and down to 2 catchers. 28-year-old Frank Hershey can't catch, but he is a leader. The Maine native is our 3rd starter now after being selected with the 130th pick in the 1903 draft and then just pitching 18 innings over his first 2 seasons with Fort Worth. The Manchester Textiles made a pair of trades. They were short on outfielders and filled that need by acquiring left fielder Ben Davis from the Class A Bloomington Bloomers and Job Rebsamen from the Class B Rock Island Islanders. In exchange, they relinquished pitchers Frank Morrissey and Bill Leith. The Amsterdam Gloversville Johnstone Jags are led by ace starter Edward Hanlon, who won 23 games in Class D last season. 22-year-old second baseman Queenie O'Rourke saved the Bridgeport Orators from relegation last season by leading the Connecticut League with 7 home runs. Fall River is led by 25-year-old shortstop James Moorhead, who posted 10 WAR in Class B last season, but they are otherwise a pitching-heavy club. 23-year-old first baseman Billy Page leads the Manchester Textiles into their second attempt at promotion from Class C. They are also still using former New London Whaler William Dalton in center field. The Springfield Ponies earned promotion to Class C through 27-year-old shortstop Joseph Kavanaugh, who batted in 114 base runners in 1905. So what stands out about these clubs?
They all look the same.
Our New London Whalers look to be roughly on par with all of them too. It's hard to know where we stand. Are we embarking on a promotion push or a full-blown relegation disaster? Ladies and gentlemen, here are your opening day 1906 New London Whalers. Excluding second baseman Julian Mattis and pitcher Albert Page, who have just become the first members of our reserve roster. What an honor. With our roster size now legal, it's time to find out if we're any good. Will Sanford steps up with 2 on in the game tied. His opposite field single scored Scotty Alcock and Hank Perry, and we win opening day in Manchester 7-3. If you're counting at home, that's our first opening day win in 4 seasons. Miracles happen, especially in Manchester. Elsewhere, Sandy McDougal and the Amsterdam Gloversville Johnston Jags take care of Fall River 6-2 at home. The Springfield Ponies ride Goldie Bowler to a 6-3 win over Bridgeport. Down 1 and Miles Marriott is our last hope in Bridgeport. Grounder to short, routine play, he's out. We've lost to the Orators 7-6. We're 7-8, stuck in a 3-way tie for third, 2.5 back of the Jags, 1 ahead of Manchester, and 0 idea what we're good at. We're second in Class C in runs scored despite bad peripherals, and we've allowed the second most runs despite good peripherals. Honestly, we make no statistical sense. Maybe we like it that way. Top of the 4th in Fall River, and Frank Murphy puts a charge into 1, and it's gone for a 1-0 lead. Harry Long surrenders 10 hits, but somehow no runs. He strands them all and gets Yerger to fly out to complete the shutout. A 19-8 May rockets us into first place. The Jags in Fall River are 3 back, while Bridgeport is 11.5 behind and already dusting off their Class D travel schedule. Frank Murphy at age 30 is suddenly him, posting an 839 OPS. Harry Long throws back-to-back shutouts, cutting his ERA to 1.77. Everything's coming up Whalers. We're up 1 at home against Springfield. Lefty Webb deals and strikes out Patty O'Connor to complete a 3-2 victory over the Ponies. An outrageous 22-7 June stretches our lead to 8 games over Fall River. Frank Murphy is still raking with a 901 OPS. Lefty Webb wins Class C Rookie of the Month, 7 wins, 1.29 ERA, and no discernible nerves. Meanwhile, Bridgeport loses 18 in a row and has effectively booked their relegation. It's all about promotion for us now. Harry Long, part-time pitcher, part-time slugger. This RBI triple in the 7th gives us a 2-1 lead over the Jags, and naturally, he holds it. Another 22-7 month. We are steamrolling this Connecticut League. Miles Marriott posts an 885 OPS. Harry Long wins 6 more with a 1.02 ERA in the month. Bridgeport is officially toast. No deadline deals from our rivals. Let's just get Frank Murphy healthy and coast to Class B. Bottom of the 10th in Manchester, where Ben Davis smacks a single to center field. Lewis now rounds third, scores, and the Textiles celebrate a 7-6 victory. We cooled off a bit in August at 14-13, but we're still in command. Magic numbers 4 with 13 games remaining. Walter Peterson tallied 30 hits, Lefty O'Bannon reached 20 wins, and let's wrap this up and start pricing Class B real estate. Final out at home against second place Springfield. Patty O'Connor chops one to third, Harry Noyes throws him out, and we're champions of the Connecticut League. Cue the trophy lift. We finished 93-47, our best record yet, and 10 games ahead of Springfield. Bridgeport, well, they lost their only catcher for the year and then lost 109 games. Hope they enjoy Class D. Most runs scored in the league, most home runs with 15, second fewest allowed, run differential of plus 128. Are we great? Yes. Are we lucky? Also yes. By Pythagorean record, we should have been just 1 game ahead of Springfield, not 10. Our defense was second best, behind the Ponies. Miles Marriott led the club with 5.4 wins above replacement, mostly from elite defense behind the plate. Rookie Hank Perry adds 4.5 with a team-high 61 RBI. Will Sanford goes from replacement level to a tidy 3.6 WAR. Harry Welsh, last year's MVP, regressed to a humble 0.9 WAR. Harry Long slashed his walk rate and led the staff with 4.8 WAR. New addition Frank Hershey struck out 122 batters and posted 4.2 WAR, and just fell short of giving us 4 20-game winners. Bullpen arms Mark Clayton and Frank Oberlin delivered quiet value as well. Back in Class D, the Scranton Miners win the Hudson River League by riding Dr. Seuss and the Thingamajigger to a 94-win season and promotion.
Here we go, 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 go. On an adventure, the thingamajigger is up and away.
The Philadelphia Quaker Giants also earned promotion to Class C. Lancaster aren't exactly smelling like red roses now after losing a pyramid-worst 128 games. The Temple Boll Weevils and Corsicana Oilers are promoted from the Texas League to the Class C 5th tier. Billy White led the league in batter war for the 2nd straight season. Meanwhile, ball player Orton Greenfield finishes just short and will stew about it until April. Jack Hanafin carries Norwich to the Interstate League crown, and Hartford tags along to Class C. Ed Walsh is still pitching like a man possessed, but Meriden remains firmly stuck in purgatory. The Brooklyn Royal Giants finish dead last for the 3rd straight year. Get them a loyalty card. The Sharon Steels win 92 games behind the twin threats of Jimmy Adams and George Dunham. Though millionaires from Williamsport will also be trading up next season, Johnstown, meanwhile, is nothing if not consistent, 124 losses in back-to-back seasons. The Joplin Miners and Springfield Midgets earned promotion from the Kansas League up to Class C. Joplin's Owen Wilson led this league in batter war for the 2nd straight season.
Wow.
The Chicago Leland Giants take the Kentucky-Illinois-Tennessee League crown thanks to Jack Barnett. Ball player Blackburn guides the Charleston Canaries to a 2nd place finish and their own ticket to Class C. The Akron Rubbernecks stretch past the competition to win the Ohio-Pennsylvania League. They'll be joined in Class C by Jim Eisen and the Canton Chinamen, who narrowly held off the Youngstown Ohio Works for 2nd place. The Columbia Gamecocks and Lynchburg Shoemakers are the first clubs promoted from the Virginia League. The Norfolk Tars boasted the best hitter and best pitcher in the league, yet still managed to finish in last place. Guess whoever called baseball a team sport wasn't kidding. The Algona Brownies get it done behind Pete Noonan and Bill Dineen. Winnipeg falls 1 game short but still earns promotion as the final Class D team to go up. The promotion line is now closed for the season. Please exit through the gift shop. The Philadelphia Giants get their redemption arc and win the South Atlantic League. The Charleston Seagulls finish just behind Macon and Augusta in 6th place and gets dumped down to Class D. Natchez and Paris enter the final day tied for last in the Western Association standings. They play each other on the last day. Winner survives, loser takes the Class D elevator. James Doherty steps up with runners on, and that one's in the gap. 2 runs will score, Paris wins 5-2 and will remain in Class C. Unfortunately for Natchez, that means they're going back down. Maybe they'll find some peace down in D-ball in 1907. The Dallas Giants win the league and earn a 2nd straight promotion. Dayton takes the Northern League and heads back to Class B. Grand Forks, Davenport, and Rockford gave chase, but it wasn't enough. The Leavenworth Old Soldiers, 1 year layover in Class C, bags not even unpacked, and they're back to D. Up to Class B now, where Bill Burns leads Cedar Rapids to a III League title and return to Class A. The Milwaukee Creams, meanwhile, complete a dizzying landslide from Class A to Class C in just 2 seasons. The Greenville Cotton Pickers win the Central League and become the first club in the pyramid to earn promotion in 3 straight seasons. The Baton Rouge Cajuns were overmatched this level and relegated back to Class C after a 100-loss campaign. Tom Hughes of Terre Haute led the Central League in pitcher war for the 2nd straight season. The New York State League pennant race is a mess. The South Bend Greens and Utica Pentups are tied for first on the final day of the season, with the Syracuse Stars lingering just one game back, one loss or win away from a three-way playoff. Third place Syracuse did their part. Danny Friend pitched a 3-hit shutout for the Stars, and now they've got a scoreboard watch. But South Bend spoiled the three-way party. Jack Kleins drilled a 3-run homer to straight center, and South Bend wins. Now Utica needs to win to force a playoff. No score in the 10th inning. That is until Tommy Milet singles off Jim Fox to score the only run of the game and force that one-game playoff. Top of the 9th, 2-0 Greens. Goat Anderson pitches to Doc Powers. Tough play for the pitcher, but he makes it. South Bend advances to Class A. Bill Essick and Utica narrowly missed promotion for the second straight season. The Rochester Broncos finish with 88 losses and are relegated to Class C. That's 2 endings, and neither one was happy. The New Bedford Whalers claim the New England League and promotion to Class A after falling 2 games short a season ago. The Lawrence Colts collect 88 losses and a ticket down to Class C. Now to Class A. Minneapolis, after 3 straight losing seasons, finally puts it together and wins the Western League. They're going to the American League now. Colorado Springs, not so much, relegated after 85 losses. Pete Hill and Ralph Caldwell repeat as League War champions. Al Cabrera and the Binghamton Bingos become the first team to climb from Class B to the American League. Baltimore loses 96 games and gets booted to Class B. That's the American dream in baseball form, and its nightmare too. Little Rock's headed back to the American League, hoping this time they won't lose 104 games there. The Bloomington Bloomers didn't get the memo about how difficult Class A is. They're heading back down after an 85-loss crash landing. Jack Chesbrough helps the New York Highlanders return to the American League with 97 wins. Brooklyn gives them a good chase, but it's not enough. Troy loses 89 games and drops back to Class B, their brief stay in A ending with the door hitting them on the way out. The Detroit Tigers win 97 games and become the first club to go from Class A to the National League. They're officially the system's poster child now. The just promoted Beaneaters make noise with 86 wins. The New York Giants relegated again, now to Class A. They are joined by the Boston Americans, Louisville Colonels, and St. Joseph Saints. This league eats reputations for breakfast. And the Cubs win their second straight National League title. Joe Tinker is 26 years old and acting like a future Hall of Famer. The Pirates came close this time. The Phillies, on the other hand, are taking the express train to the American League after 88 losses. To the West Coast Pyramid, where the Everett Smokestackers rise behind ballplayer Cook and Edward Erickson. Tacoma makes it back to the top flight after last year's meltdown. Vancouver finishes 2 games short and gets to spend another year in beautiful rainy limbo. Doc Newton and the Los Angeles Angels have wrestled the Pacific Coast League crown away from the Oakland Oaks. Meanwhile, Harry Lumley of Seattle is treating war titles like Pringles. That's 4 in a row for him. As for Bellingham, the Gillnetters showed up, took their beatings, and will now quietly return to Class B after an 8th place finish and 47-85 record. The barnstorming All-Cubans were technically guests, but they made themselves right at home in the Cuban second division, going 90-48 and earning promotion. Whether they stick around for the top flight or ghost the whole league next season is anyone's guess. In the top tier, Habana rolls to their second straight Cuban League title with a 93-33 mark. Carlos Moran has now led the league in batter war for 4 straight seasons, and Ed Summers has gone back-to-back in pitcher war. 3 teams relegated this season to get the league down to 8, and they are Nuevo Criolla, Azul, and Fay. Here are the batting leaders across all the leagues. Al Cabrera of Binghamton led all hitters with a 13.8 wins above replacement mark. Seattle's Harry Lumley led baseball with 19 home runs at 1045 OPS and 499 WOBA. Frank Schulte of Syracuse topped the charts in slugging, total bases, and isolated power. Harry Rush of the Hutchinson Salt Packers didn't just lead pitchers, he lapped them. Baseball high 22.3 WAR, 430 strikeouts and 63 quality starts. Bill Dineen of Algona brought the finesse, best strikeout to walk ratio, lowest whip, and best FIP. Somehow neither of their arms broke. Webb City first baseman Omar Firestein led the sport in total chances, and Peoria shortstop George McBride posted the best zone rating. Ginny Robinson of Algona handled pitchers better than anyone, recording the lowest catcher ERA. On the other end, William McKenzie of the Mansfield Giants allowed 338 passed balls, and William Kane of the Manchester Textiles made 113 errors. That is not a typo, it's a cry for help. It's Roosevelt Cup time again, our fourth go-round with all 202 clubs chasing glory and hoping to dethrone the two-time champion Chicago Cubs. There are 74 first-round matchups, including the Class A Kansas City Blues, paying a visit to the National League Chicago White Sox. Our beloved New London Whalers earned a bye into round 2 and a temporary reprieve from heartbreak. Davenport has just tied the game, and now John Bufka singles to left, Hunky Hines scores, and the Knickerbockers advance past Jacksonville. The Atlanta Crackers also win their series on a walk-off by shortstop Frank Morse. The New York Giants stumble briefly against the Vicksburg Hillbillies, but recover in Game 3. No major upsets yet. Bottom 9, Haverhill trailing. Jimmy Berry sends one to deep left, and it's gone! His first homer of the season is a walk-off grand slam against the Macon Brigands. The Washington Senators survive a 13-inning Game 3 against their Class D namesakes from Jackson. The Cuban League's Carmelitas score the first true upset, knocking out the Class B Milwaukee Creams. Fall River becomes the first Connecticut League casualty, losing 2 straight to the Philadelphia Athletics. The Cuban Stars of Havana give the mighty Cleveland Naps a wake-up call, but Erwin Ratton's ground-out put the upset bid to bed. Minor tremors here. Class D Altoona and Savannah pull off small upsets over Class C clubs. The Bridgeport Orators are one of the victims, another Connecticut League member down. Lewis Hading is Nashua's last hope to avoid upset against Sioux City. His fly ball to left field is caught, and the Millionaires are bankrupt. No upsets here, but the Colorado Springs Millionaires also lose in the first round against the Oakland Oaks. The lower class rejoices at the downfall of high society. George Lady steps up for New Orleans in the 11th inning of Game 3, line drive over the shortstop, and the Lady sings as the Pelicans escape Jacksonville's upset bid. Class D Pueblo topples Class C Dayton behind 2 homers from ball player Donovan. The upset is real, the first name still isn't. Tie game in Rockford with Wilson Hosmer up. It falls in front of the left fielder, and the winning run is around third and safe. The Red Sox advance past Grand Rapids. No bracket chaos here, but the Amsterdam Gloversville Johnston Jags take down the Cleburne Railroaders. Try fitting that on a scorecard. St. Paul has 2 on with 2 outs in the 9th, and Elmer Pierce strikes out to end the game. St. Joseph wins the holiest of matchups over St. Paul. The Class B Waco Navigators collect just 1 hit in Game 3, but pull off a 4-0 upset of the Class A Birmingham Barons. The Class D Worcester Busters sweep the Class B Concord Marines in a New England feud. Natchez has the bases loaded in Portsmouth. Ball player Bomar grounds it to short, who comes home for the force and then to first for the game-ending double play. The Connecticut League's Manchester Textiles weave their way into the second round. The Class D Lincoln Ducklings upset the Class B Duluth White Sox in 3 games. Bottom of the 11th in Havana, Harry Houston singled to right. James Hillary is coming around third and beats the throw home. The West Stars advance. It's upset city here. The Class D Meridian Ribboners upset the Class A Bloomington Bloomers. The Class C Fargo Browns sweep the Class B Springfield Senators, and the Class D Wilkes-Barre Barons sweep the Class A Cuban X-Giants. Tie game in Newark with Art Devlin trying to play hero. It's a base hit up the middle. Ball player Bureau's throw is too late, and the Sailors walk off the Richmond Colts. The St. Louis Browns hammer Azul, and it's time for the second round, where all clubs join the tournament. The featured matchup is the 1903 NL champion Cincinnati Reds traveling to the 1903 Cup champion Pittsburgh Pirates. Schenectady is clinging to a 1-0 lead. Shreveport's Heine Zimmerman singles to center field, but is out at second trying to stretch it. Frog Alley's advance. The Class C Philadelphia Giants sweep the Class A Toronto Maple Leafs. Class C Sharon Steels take the New York Giants to a third game, but lose 5-1. Tied at 1 in the ninth, Charleston's Ray Ryan singles to left field. Harry Sewell scores from second, and the Canaries advance past Carmelita. Things haven't gone well for the Brooklyn Superbas, who now reside in Class A, but they've upset the National League's Philadelphia Athletics to reach the third round. The Class A Buffalo Bisons just fall short of upsetting the Washington Senators. No score in the 11th inning. Joseph Higgins of the Chicago Leland Giants changes that with this single to knock out the Augusta Tourists. The Connecticut League Springfield Ponies fall in Game 3 to the Peoria Distillers. Class B Utica Pentups upset the Class A Denver Grizzlies, and the Class D Scranton Miners score an upset sweep of the Class A Toledo Mudhens. Tied at 2 in Algona, and Topeka's Fred Badel drills a bases-clearing triple into the left field gap, which would carry the White Sox to victory over the Algona Brownies. The Class B Cedar Rapids Rabbits chop down the PCL's Oakland Oaks, otherwise favorites prevail. Rockford is up a run in the 10th. The Tacoma Tigers have a runner on, but Sid Smith grounds out to second base and the Red Sox advance. The Class D Temple Boll Weevils sweep the Class B Des Moines Champs, and the Class D Monroe Hill Cities do the same to the Class A Albany Senators. The Jags are the first Connecticut League club in the third round by beating the Philadelphia Quaker Giants. Vancouver was 3 outs away from advancing, but Lawrence took the lead in the 9th on this Kid O'Hara double. The Colts gallop to victory and advance. Cincinnati earned some 1903 bragging rights with a series win over Pittsburgh, but the St. Joseph Saints get overrun by the Evansville River Rats. The Class C Marion Moguls are on the verge of knocking out the Philadelphia Phillies. Walter Towers gets the strikeout and completes the giant upset. Philadelphia's nightmare season continues, relegated and now eliminated by Class C Marion. Manchester is gone, but the Connecticut League still has a few horses in this race. Our Whalers draw the Guthrie Senators, last year's Cinderella story of the Cup. They've lost their top 2 bats due to injury, but still have shortstop Benny McGraw and ace John Hotham, so let's do this. We love losing late leads and are at it again, but Harry Long gets a ground out from Tony Smith to preserve our 2-1 Game 1 victory. Guthrie roared back in Game 2 as Harry Gatewood's 2-run single off Frank Hershey made it 8-1 Senators, and they'd win it by a score of 8-3. We nursed a 1-0 lead into the 9th, but Jack Pendry's triple tied it, and then a wild pitch put Guthrie in front. Our last hope was Walter Patterson, who completed an 0-for-14 series by flying out to center. The Guthrie Senators rally from behind to end the Whalers' season in heartbreaking fashion. After a surprise promotion to Class B, it's a cruel but fitting reminder, in Cup play you only die once, but it always hurts. The 2-time defending champion Chicago Cubs look terrifying again, steamrolling Fargo to reach round 3. Three-peat incoming? It's time for the third round with 64 clubs remaining. The featured matchup is the American League's Boston Beaneaters traveling to Chicago to face the National League's Cubs. The Brooklyn Dodgers are on the ropes. Their last hope is Sammy Strang, who pops it up, and they're knocked out by the Troy Trojans. Brooklyn is stuck in Class A and losing to Class A clubs in the Roosevelt Cup. They are truly a Class A club now. The Class C Philadelphia Giants ousted the Class A Atlanta Crackers from the Cup. No other upsets in this section, but that one was plenty. Bottom 10th in the Battle of Chicago. Jack Barnett up for the Leland Giants. It's a single up the middle. Ball player Potter scores, and it's a monumental upset. Chicago's pecking order just changed. The White Sox fall to their neighbors in a Cup shocker, so the Leland Giants get to borrow the city's crown for second best club. 13th inning in Monroe, where Barney McLaughlin of the Lowell Tigers lines one over the first baseman into the right field corner. It'll score 2 and Lowell wins 6-3. The Class D Temple Boll Weevils infest Baltimore and take down the Class A Orioles. The Jags are making the Connecticut League proud, sweeping the Class A Indianapolis Indians and advancing to the 4th round. Almendaris makes Cuba proud by knocking out the Lawrence Colts of the New England League. Grand Forks batting with a tie game in the bottom of the 9th. John Fitzhenry singles to right field, and the Forkers eliminate the Guthrie Senators. The Class D Williamsport Millionaires sweep the Class A Little Rock Travelers to reach the 4th round. Marion's magic ran out as the Hattiesburg Tar Heels knocked them out in 3 games. The Class D Winnipeg Maroons get an upset sweep over the South Bend Greens. It's time for the 4th round with 32 clubs remaining. The Boston Americans will travel to their suburb to challenge the Lowell Tigers. The American League St. Louis Browns face the National League Chicago Cubs. Top of the 13th in Philly, where Roy Rock single to right field puts the Providence Grays in front, and they'd advance past the Philadelphia Giants. The Peoria Distillers hold a 1-run lead in the 10th inning of Game 3. Jay O'Brien steps up for the Utica Pentups and grounds out to second base. Peoria advances. The Class B Cedar Rapids Rabbits knock off the Class A Louisville Colonels. The rest of this section is chalk. 1-0 Chicago. Runner on for St. Louis. Carl Lundgren's pitch is grounded to second base, and the Chicago Cubs advance to the 5th round. Grand Forks is down 2, but with 2 on. Frank Mullane grounds one to the middle, but it's a diving stop, and the Winnipeg Maroons head to the 5th round. The Connecticut League is still alive, with the Jags sweeping the Temple Boll Weevils. The Evansville River Rats surprise the Seattle Seawashes in 3 games. 16 clubs remaining, and it's a mix of contenders and crashers. The West Coast and Cuban Pyramids have collapsed. The Washington Senators and Cleveland Naps clash in the 5th round, so let's dive in. Johnny Lush steps up for New York, drills one to deep left field, and it's gone! The Highlanders knock out the pesky Rabbits and advance to the quarterfinals. The dream officially ends for the Party Crashers. The big league clubs flex their depth, discipline, and payroll, wiping out the last of the minor league contenders in the 5th round. Both of our challenges remain up for grabs in 1907. It's quarterfinal time. We've got promoted versus promoted as the Tigers visit the Highlanders, relegated versus relegated as the Reds face the Boston Americans, and a juicy 1904 finals rematch with the Cubs and Cardinals. Tie game in the 9th. Elmer Flick trying to play hero for Cleveland. He won't, because Red Ames uncorks a wild pitch and the Naps advance to the semis anyway. The Tigers force 3 games, but the Highlanders slam the door with a 6-0 shutout in the rubber match. It's New York's first trip to the semis and the first ever by a regional club. Jack Taylor's looking to send Chicago to the semifinals. He pitches to Otto Williams and strikes him out looking. Cubs win 4-3. The Reds maul the Boston Americans in 2 games. No drama, just carnage. This team still remembers being relegated, and they are not in a forgiving mood. 2 semifinal newcomers, Cleveland and New York, take on 2 heavyweights. The Cubs are chasing a 3rd straight Roosevelt Cup title. The Reds want revenge for 1903. This bracket's all gas and no brakes. Johnny Gansel's 5th inning RBI triple made it 7-1 New York Highlanders. They win 8-2 for a sweep of the Cleveland Naps. Doc Casey's double scored Joe Tinker and gave the Chicago Cubs a 6-3 lead in the 5th. That would become the final score, and the Cincinnati Reds get swept. Cleveland barely put up a fight. The Reds made the Cubs sweat in Game 1 and bust Frank Chance's quad in Game 2, but they couldn't take a win. Chicago's back in the finals, but without their best player. It's National League versus International League in the Roosevelt Cup final. The Cubs have Joe Tinker and Johnny Evers. The Highlanders have Jimmy Williams and some raw outfielder named Ty Cobb. Chicago took out 2 NL clubs and 2 AL clubs on their path to the finals. The Highlanders' path was much easier with just 2 AL clubs in their way. Now they face the winners of the past 4 competitions. Both clubs have remained at home this entire competition, and New York gets home field advantage here. Game 1 is down to the wire with the Cubs clinging to the lead. Dummy Taylor gets Lefty Davis to put the Cubs within one win of a three-peat. Larry McLean's 2-out single in the fourth gave the Highlanders their first lead of the series, which they would keep and win 5-2. We're going to Game 3. No score in the ninth. Ambrose Putman pitches to Willie Keeler, who hits a deep fly ball to right field. Davy Jones fields it, but there's no chance to get the tagging runner. The Highlanders shock the world and win the Roosevelt Cup. So the plucky, lovable underdog New York Highlanders defeat the wealthy, ruthless, and dominant Chicago Cubs in 3 games. Harry Howell pitches a 5-hit shutout in Game 3, and the Highlanders offense finally breaks through for the win. Congratulations to the Highlanders on becoming the first ever club below the American League to win the Roosevelt Cup title. And after their promotion, they'll be playing ball in the American League next season with boosted market size and fan interest. Sure, the loss stings here, but this Cubs team won back-to-back NL titles and came 1 game short of a 3rd straight cup. Make no mistake, they are still the gold standard of this baseball world. As for the New London Whalers, the 1906 season was a triumph. Avoiding relegation was the goal. Promotion to Class B was the reality. Sure, the cup run fizzled, but Guthrie magic is hard to stop. We'll find out soon if we belong in Class B, but that's a story for 1907. That's a wrap for the 1906 season. If you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stick around because 1907 is right around the corner.